If you've ever wondered why anxiety, gut problems, and poor sleep tend to travel together, the vagus nerve is your answer. If you have chronic stress, poor digestion, or sleep that doesn't actually restore you, this one nerve might be the thread connecting all of it. And here's what matters. Vagal tone, how well your vagus nerve is functioning, is measurable. It varies between people, and it's something you can genuinely change. Stay through to minute 8, because that's where I cover the one habit that research consistently links to higher vagal tone, and it's not the one most people expect. But first, you need to understand what this nerve actually does, because once you know what it controls, the symptoms you've been carrying start to make a different kind of sense. Before we go further, everything in this video is for educational purposes only. I'm an AI-generated presenter, and none of what I share here is a substitute for professional medical advice. If you're dealing with a clinical condition, please speak with a qualified healthcare provider. The vagus nerve is your 10th cranial nerve. It's the longest nerve in your body, running from your brainstem through your neck, through your chest, and all the way down into your abdomen. Its name comes from the Latin word for wandering, because it wanders further through your body than any other nerve. Along that path, it connects to your heart, your lungs, your larynx, your esophagus, your stomach, your liver, your kidneys, and your colon. It also connects to the muscles that control your facial expression, the tone of your voice, and your inner ear, the part that filters background noise so you can hear a human voice across a crowded room. What it controls is not a short list: heart rate, breathing rate, digestive motility, immune response, inflammation, facial expression, the emotional warmth of your voice, and most importantly, your ability to feel safe. The vagus nerve is the main highway of your parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest, digestion, repair, and social connection. When it's functioning well, your body moves fluidly between states. You get stressed, then you recover. You activate, then you settle. Your gut works. Your sleep restores you. When it's not functioning well, that adaptive fluidity disappears. Vagal tone is the term researchers use to describe how active and responsive your vagal system is. The most reliable way to measure it is through HRV, heart rate variability. Not your resting heart rate, the variation in time between individual heartbeats. If your heart beats at 60 beats per minute, that doesn't mean it's firing exactly once per second. A healthy heart with high vagal tone will have slight timing variations between beats, sometimes 0.9 seconds, sometimes 1.1, sometimes 1.05. That variation means your nervous system is actively adapting in real time. Low HRV means your heart is beating more like a metronome, rigid, less responsive. And that rigidity maps closely onto anxiety, poor stress recovery, and difficulty feeling settled. Multiple large studies, including research from Harvard Medical School and the HeartMath Institute, have found that low HRV predicts anxiety disorders, depression, inflammatory conditions, and cardiovascular disease. Low vagal tone doesn't cause all of these independently, but it's involved in most of them. You don't need an HRV monitor to get a rough sense of where your vagal tone sits. These patterns show up consistently in people with underperforming vagal systems. You recover slowly from stress. A relatively minor stressor, a difficult email, a brief conflict, takes 30, 40, sometimes 60 minutes before you feel settled. Your digestion is unpredictable: bloating, constipation, or a gut that seems to respond directly to your emotional state. The vagus nerve controls around 75% of digestive function. When it's weak, your gut knows it. You feel flat or slightly disconnected in social situations, even ones you should enjoy. Social connection is a primary vagal function. When tone is low, being around people is work rather than restoration. Your voice goes flat when you're anxious. Less warmth, less variation in tone. The vagus nerve controls the muscles of the larynx. Low tone equals less prosody. You startle easily, and the response lingers longer than it should. You wake up tired after enough sleep, because your system is still partially activated overnight rather than resting. None of these alone confirm anything. But if several are familiar, your vagal system is likely underperforming. Here's the part worth sending to someone else. Most people who are chronically anxious or exhausted have been told the problem is their mindset, their habits, their stress levels. And there's truth in that. But underneath the habits and the mindset is a physiological system, a nerve that has measurable tone, measurable output, and measurable response to specific inputs. You can't will your way to higher vagal tone any more than you can will your way to stronger cardiovascular fitness. You have to train it. And training it requires understanding what it actually responds to. That's the shift. Not try harder at relaxing. Train the specific system responsible for relaxation. Several things reliably lower vagal tone over time: chronic stress, trauma history, poor sleep, low physical activity, and habitual shallow chest breathing. That last one is underestimated. When you breathe from your chest rather than your diaphragm, your exhale is short, and it's the exhale that most directly stimulates the vagus nerve. Years of shallow breathing means years of low vagal activation with every breath. What raises vagal tone? Slow diaphragmatic breathing with an extended exhale, cold water exposure, aerobic exercise, quality social connection, and, the one I mentioned at the start, vocalization. Singing, humming, chanting, gargling. Vocalization produces vibration in the larynx that directly stimulates vagal fibers. Every culture with communal chanting, Buddhist, Christian, indigenous, Sufi, was doing this without the neuroscience. The practices weren't wrong, they just didn't have the vocabulary yet. In the next video, I walk through the specific protocol I recommend for building vagal tone. 3 techniques combined into a single daily practice, based on the highest evidence research available. It's the one I'd start with if I were beginning from zero. It's linked in the card above and in the description. I'll see you there.